supper and a mother at the best place around. Some stupid with a flare gun burned the place to the ground. Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky. Smoke on the water. Funky and Claude was running in and out, pulling kids out of the ground. But when it all was over, we had to find another place. Swiss time was running out, it seemed that we would lose the race. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky. Smoke on the water.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudi, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen.
The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage.
All you ever want.
Backstage.
All you ever need.
Backstage.
Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there. You'll never wanna leave. You wanna sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage, they've laid on everything.
Yes, hi again. By the way, send me in your language, which is not German, English, French, Spanish, or Italian, sort of similar words to what I say at the beginning, and I'm trying to do it in your language as well. So challenge me with Czech, with Polish, with Russian, with Japanese, with Mandarin, with whatever. I will be happy to do that. So I think it's time to see a little bit better. Now, I wanted to start with playing guitar, actually. And I have prepared my guitar here. And because let's do this a little bit more down, then you see a little bit more of my guitar. It's the resume. It's the resume. I will soon make a whole song of that. It's that. The funny thing is, I did that when I was in a similar age to my older son Ruby, who is, by the way, thank you Ruby, is so kind and record this again. I'm not rehearsed. But it also goes on. It's gone on. I have to rehearse a little bit, and then I'm planning to play it. But it still was always a half song. It was like more like the classical guitar thing. It was like mainly a chord, following a few chords, and then, as you might remember, for some weeks I did on Mondays always a show that was called Backstage Resume, where I sort of made reactions of what happened and how many people were watching from all over the world, etc. Which was, I mean, we sometimes had weeks where we had 3 programs in one week. On Sunday we had the Rudi Backstage live. We had on Monday the Resume, and we had on Tuesday what I called Backstage Plus, which is mainly people asking questions and answers, which we then also integrated in the main thing. So today I have so send me. At the beginning, as I said, it just reminded me again, send me please different languages, challenge me. Yeah, I would like to do different languages, not the ones that I do all the time, although of course Italian, Spanish, French, English and German are sort of my main languages. We will have today the trivia drawing for the Gianna Nannini question. We will also have something which I've never done before. People are always asking me, yeah, we know you did a lot of Queen documentaries and live shows, not so many, but also a few, and a lot of videos. Actually, I did 32 Queen-related videos. That includes the solo videos for Freddie, Brian, and Roger. I also did something like more than 10 big Queen documentaries. In fact, I'm working on a new Queen documentary now, but I'm not allowed to talk about it. It's not, in the moment, not an official Queen project with Queen, but it's something that is very interesting. But as I said, there is a list, if I find it. Oh, here it is. As you know, again, the new format is actually quite nice because it means, yes, I'm preparing a topic, and then I'm basically talking whatever comes into my mind. So I don't really know what I'm going to say, and I hope you don't mind, because I hope most of the stuff it's kind of interesting. So here is the list. Here is the fucking list. That's the list of all the Queen videos I've done, 32. Then some Queen-related products which are not Queen videos but not documentaries, which are interesting to mention. And then, of course, the documentaries. And let's go and let's start with the documentaries. And I'm saying a little bit about it. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Yeah, if you agree. So the first big Queen documentary for Queen Productions, with Jim Beach and myself producing, I had the privilege to direct with my then partner Hannes Rossacher, was Magic Years. Magic Years Part 1, 2, and 3. That is an interesting story because it started around the Magic Tour, or before the Magic Tour. The idea was basically to film, which I did, on some of the important places where the tour was gonna lead Queen, like Budapest, but also Vienna, London, Knebworth, of course, yeah, London Wembley Stadium, etc. And Jim Beach and I, very early, it was called Magic Years because there was the Magic album, Kind of Magic was one of the hits. It also was the Magic Tour. And around that tour, by the way, all those nicknames were created, for those of you who are asking, because if you go to the live album that was then released of the Magic Tour, you find that a lot of people who are credited on the back, and I happen to be one of them, but also much more other important people, more important other people, I wanted to say, they have nicknames. So like Jerry Stickles was, if I remember, Jerry Grumpy Stickles, because he was usually grumpy because he didn't want to this and that. Jim Miami Beach, yeah, and all that. And this is when the Torpedo Twins were invented because they were mentioning that it says documentary filming by the Torpedo Twins. Like the Glimmer Twins, Jagger Richards, when they didn't want to write that they produced the Stones album, it was produced by the Glimmer Twins. So we were the Torpedo Twins, and as you remember, it was Freddie's idea to call us that at the time, and I took it like an honor, this nickname. So Magic Years 1, 2, and 3, and why is there 3 parts? I mean, it started off as a 60-minute documentary. And I remember Jim and we went into the offices of what was then called Picture Music International, PMI, which was the video company of the record company EMI, where also the Beatles at the time were, and Queen. That was before they now are, as you say, on a different label. Interesting enough, the person who worked there, we are still working with him these days because he's now, it's Jeff Campin. He's now part of Eagle Vision and Eagle Records, etc., a London-based company which specialized in rare music documentaries, live concerts, interesting Blu-rays, DVDs, etc. at the time. So we went in there and we said, this is going to be, of course, Jim and this is the greatest and blah, blah. So it was agreed that it's 160 minutes. Fine. Then we started producing and this and that and here and that and that. And the footage became more and more. So when we were halfway filming, I said to Jim, this is going to be much more than 60 minutes. I said, okay, then let's do 120 minutes. I said, okay. So basically, Magic Years Part 2 was invented in that moment. But then we finished filming and we went to Napworth. There's so much material of Napworth, which is unreleased. I'm saying this over and over again. I come to this a little later. And so when I started editing, I said to Jim, I'm never going to make it in 120 minutes. This is going to be longer. So Jim had the glorious idea. Jim Beach, by the way, in my eyes, is a genius. Yeah, he's a genius. He had so many interesting ideas until this day. And hi, Jim, if you watch this, I love you. Claudia, I just saw Claudia in a video. We come to this later also. They're very, very nice people. But Jim, after all, is the perfect business mind and, how should I say, the shaping mind. I mean, he was one of the first with the musical. He was, doing the idea of the feature film of Bohemian Rhapsody for more than 10 years and was seeing it through. So anyway, Jim had the great idea. Said, okay, you know what? We go to PMI and we tell them this is going to be the very first box set of 3 documentaries on Queen in one. Magic Years Part 1, 2, and 3. So this is how that came about. So finally, it ended up, and it really is the box set. It was released on VHS. I mean, most of you don't even know what that is. I don't have one handy because I don't even have a VHS player here anymore. I have one in Austria because some of my stuff only was ever released on VHS. So, and I'm keeping at least one copy of everything that I did of official, long form videos, as we called it then. So, and this box set was something special. I regret until this day that Magic Years is not out on other formats. I'm mentioning it every now and again to my friends of Queen. Maybe it happens. But what you should know is there always was a Magic Years Part 4, which is unreleased until this day. Why? Because, first of all, after going there and saying it's going to be one documentary and then it's going to be 2 parts, and then we finally persuaded them it's going to be 3 parts. There was no, excuse my language, fucking way that we could go in there and say, oh, by the way, now it's 4. They would have thought we were crazy. It was like, get out of here, you know. So Magic Years Part 4 exists in my editing room. And I'm not even sure if Jim knows that this is existing, because there's so much great stuff which was never used in 1, 2, 3 or any of the other following Queen documentaries I had the privilege to do. So that there is a Queen Magic Years Part 4. That's a news for today. That alone is worth that you put in. And there is also something which I called Magic Years Bonus, which means that there is something is wrong here. Okay, good. Hang on, let me just finish that. There's I don't know what it is. Okay, he wants to reconnect, so we don't need it. So there's a Magic Years Bonus, which is all the stuff which was not used in Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, as again 4 unreleased, and I never know if it's ever gonna be released. So then we have another great documentary that I had the privilege to do with Jim Beach, and it was Champions of the World. It's not a real order. I mean, Magic Years was the first. It was 1986, if I remember correctly, was the first release. And I remember that I was very, very proud, because in one of the 2 big music papers at the time, it was either Melody Maker or New Musical Express. One of the 2 still exists as far as I know. It said something like, and I'm not quoting, but I remember it forever, in the future, all music documentaries have to be aware that they have to be better than Magic Years, which is the best so far, or something like that. Which, of course, I thought at the time, by the way, oh, great, we made it. But that was just one of the many illusions that I had in my career. Another one was, that being nominated or winning Grammys is anything that changes your life dramatically. It doesn't. You're always as good as your last film or your last video. So Champions of the World is a very interesting another product. Then there was the Queen Phenomenon, which was even a different Queen documentary I did. And then, of course, there was probably the most important one, if you're not counting Magic Years being the first one, which is always special. Then there was Freddie Mercury, The Untold Story. And let me tell you a little bit how that came about, because this was an adventure. Freddie Mercury, The Untold Story, as you probably all know, and you probably all have seen at least one version. There's different versions of that documentary of mine, and you know that it was awarded at the Grammys and so on, but also at many, many other festivals. Unfortunately, didn't win a documentary Oscar, because I think we didn't even enter it. I mean, at the time, thing was that some of the festivals we didn't win in the early years because we didn't know how to be part of it. It was, yeah. I know that we were, competing in the Berlin Film Festival and other things which didn't work out. But the Oscars, maybe because it was not released theatrical first, which is one of the criteria. Anyway, it was at least good enough that it would have been worth considering, I think. It's one of my signature work. And my ambition at the time was to, with Jim Beach, again, being with me producers of this documentary, that we want to really tell stories which haven't been told. So I went to Zanzibar, where he was born. At the time, there was nothing in Zanzibar which reminded anybody on Freddie Mercury, not even a plaque. Yeah, I heard that there is a museum now, but yeah. Then because he was born there, there was the funny story about Freddie's house, the house he was born, because in all the books that at this date existed of Freddie Mercury, there was always a photograph of one house. So I was researching with my co-producer at the time was a British, an English, London-based gentleman who is half Austrian, Simon Witter, and on the credit was shared with again my then partner Rossacher. But the thing is that we researched, either Simon and myself or all together or with the Queen Office, I don't remember, the last relatives of Freddie who still lived in Zanzibar. An aunt and an uncle. Also Parsi, which is the rare, very sort of, how you say, limited religion that Freddie was part of. You only can be born to be Parsi. You cannot change, like, you know, you can become Jewish, or you can change from, you know, Catholic to another religion, but you cannot change to Parsi. You have to be born into that religion by parents of that religion. So the numbers is naturally very small. And it was actually something, I think, for privileged people, if I remember correctly. So thing is that they said to us, I said, well, I want to film the house where Freddie was born. And they brought us to a house. But I said, well, there's a different house in this book I had with me. I said, yeah, but that's the wrong house. This is the real house. So we filmed the real house where Freddie Mercury was born for the first time. So how did it come about? Well, very simple. There was only one guy of all the guys who at this time, up to date then, wrote we're talking 1999 was filmed, and it was released in 2000. And he made a photograph and thought this was the house, and everybody else just copied the photo. Nobody was researching, is it true or not true? We were the first ones who did. And so many things happened. And then I had a small little boy who played Freddie then. I went to India, Panchgani, where the school is still existing, where this famous scene where I was interviewing the boss of the school. I don't know what it's called. I don't have the name now, but you know, the boss of the school. And I saw down there that somebody came with hundreds of sheep, which went meh, meh, meh. And I didn't stop. So he suddenly stands in the middle, and all those sheep come, and I thought this was so great, because you're made to sheep in schools, at least in my opinion at the time. I'm a father now, and I see things differently, but at least that was a very strict school. So anyway, we were researching the first female girlfriend that Freddie had. He had a crush on her. And we were reenacting the band, the Hectics, and reenacting a concert, because that's what Freddie was playing. And on this very stage, in that big room where all the feasts happened and so on in Panchgani, in the school, it was the first stage that Freddie Mercury was standing on. It was only that high. It wasn't bigger, but it should become a very symbolic thing. And I was taking a lot of effort to recreate things with various Freddie lookalikes, or Freddie actors who played him at certain ages. So Magic Years was the first, but the Untold Story is of course a never-ending story. I was always thinking of maybe doing a part 2, because it ends at a certain time. But let's see. On the other hand, there is some unreleased stuff that you don't know of. One was called simply, in the moment, it was called Freddie, or the Freddie Mercury documentary as a working title, which had great segments in which were, like on Freddie's arts and stuff like that. in terms of what kind of art he liked, not the art that he produced. I mean, the drawings and all that, that's in the Untold Story. But the thing is that that documentary was done shortly after Freddie died. And I started doing interviews mainly in London. And thing was that with all those people, be it Peter Freestone, but also other people that were close to Freddie, after 20 minutes or so, the interviewee started to cry, and I started to cry. So you had, at the time, all the time, you know, people crying, and so Jim and I talked about it and said, well, we have to stop. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense. It's too fresh. It's, you know, it's too fresh for people, and we need to have some distance. I thought at the time that it's good that we are so close to Freddie's death because everybody feels it so strongly. But naturally, the people that I interviewed were all people who were close to Freddie, and they were still very hurting. It still comes when I talk about it. I remember, I don't know who it was. It was not Peter Freestone. I think it was a gentleman called King, who was at the time, still is, involved in the management of Mick Jagger and was a good friend of Freddie. And he was also involved in the management of John Lennon and Yoko Ono, that is. And we were doing this on the stairs of the Pembridge Court Hotel, which was always the hotel that I stayed, because around the corner on Pembridge Road was always the Queen office. So there was a really nice small hotel, only 20 rooms or something, that I always stayed when we had Queen works, Queen videos or whatever. And we were there at the stairs, and then, you know, after 10 minutes, we just started to cry. It wasn't possible. So I went to Jim and said, let's stop it. And that is footage, to my knowledge, unless they used it and I'm not aware of it, they meaning Queen or the Queen family. But that's still that was also partly edited by me. And that documentary, it was never released. There's also, and yes, I know many people are asking, there is a Behind Nebworth documentary, which includes more live excerpts, which I have in my archive and Queen has in their archives. It was called Behind Nebworth, or also / The Rest. So it was like what we filmed and we didn't use in one of the documentaries before. So there's quite a few stuff still around, that are still existing, that has never been released. So for Queen fans, I mean, as always, you know, that the politic or the idea of Jim Beach and Queen as a band was always that they only release stuff that would have been released while Freddie was still with us. So just being rare or not being released is not a criteria to bring it out. Sorry, I have to get a little bit of water. And then there's also a Budapest documentary, which was only, as far as I remember, released as a bonus on a Japanese DVD or Blu-ray. Because I went when Queen played with Paul Rogers, Queen plus Paul Rogers, when they played Budapest, it was some sort of an anniversary, 20 years after the original concert, something like that. And I had this idea to go there because at the original concert in Budapest, of course, I filmed also and backstage and everything. I interviewed fans outside the stadium who came from all over the East European countries to Budapest to see Queen, because that was the first show behind the so-called, which then was called the Iron Curtain, because Hungary was still a communist regime at the time. And I had the idea to interview and try to research the people, and that happened. Now, 20 years later, the same fans. and we actually did that. And also, I think his name is Laszlo Hegedus, the promoter, who told this beautiful story that he had to bribe, in other words, in German it's bestechen, the people who had to, from the Communist Party, with bottles of white wine or something like that, and then also parts of the money, because the Eastern money wasn't worth anything. And parts of that the fee that he paid was paid in natural things and so on and so on. It's quite an interesting. It was kind of. I think it's called Budapest 20 years after. So that's the documentaries. Only the most important ones. Oh my God! And we have already half of the show. So what I promised many of you is that we finally do the trivia. So let's do the trivia, which, as you know, was a question not related to Queen. See, I always want to open up audience. So this was why I made an Untold Story or a Backstage Story on Gianna Nannini and Whitney Houston and what have you, Falco, because. Yes, I know a lot of you are Queen fans, but first of all, I think you're also interested in other things that I did. By the way, I wanted to show you a few of those other things here: Bruce Springsteen, Bad Company, Sarah Brightman, what have you. If I can do this week, then we do it next week, because that's quite interesting, and also quite a lot of Queen-related stuff. I mean, here is, for example, the Live at Wembley. It's the Blu-ray, in case you don't have it, which is, as always, great packaging. Yeah, I think it's most of the time Richard Grave, great booklets. You probably all have that. And Queen at the Wembley Stadium, and I did the documentary around it, which I called at the time "It's a Beautiful Day." Then Queen Video Hits 2, that was the original DVD. I told you that I'm keeping at least one copy of all of that, which impresses me always because it has a really great booklet, yeah, with great photographs. And I think it's out of print, if I'm not mistaken, because DVDs don't sell that well anymore. I'm not sure. But later that came out, which was sort of the equivalent. Queen great video hits, which also, I mean, on the greatest video hits 2, more than half of the videos are directed by me. This again has very great packaging, Queen greatest video hits. There's also other things on it. Then, of course, Lover of Life, Singer of Songs. Which includes the Untold Story. I mean, again, the Untold Story was released first, if I'm not mistaken. No, in a big book, which is long out of print, was pretty expensive to buy. Where all the solo records, solo songs were on, my documentary, and another DVD with all the solo videos, where also, I directed quite a few. And then this DVD came out, which on the one hand, again, has, which then was not part of the book, because it was a so-called coffee table book, a very great book where there's some contribution of mine in there. Again, great packaging, as always, by Queen. And one is the videos, and one is my documentary, and a little bit, I think even with a commentary of director's commentary. And a great booklet. And what if I'm not mistaken, is it here? Yes. Oh yeah. In there, in this original one, and I might publish this one day, I was very honored then that I was asked to write, the page 3 for the booklet. And it's called Never Try to Be Second Best. Wow. Memories. It's sort of written similar to my book. I mean, you're to to my friend Freddie, and of course you know that I showed that before. That's the Freddie Mercury tribute concert special 10th anniversary edition, which I think is the nicest edition out. It has also the rehearsals that I was privileged to film. So thing is that the writing, that when I did this for the booklet of Love of Life, Singer of Songs, that's the writing that I based my writing the book on. Very personal, very based on what I experienced and not he said, she said, and very from the heart and with a lot of love. I know I cried when I wrote this. The thing is always, when you write it, you don't cry, to be honest. But when you read it then, when it's finished, then it comes to you. Because while you write it, you're so much in it most of the time. It's the same thing with editing. When I edited, for example, In My Defense, for example, the video, which are the nicest scenes, while I edited it, I was so focused. Or when I did in the Untold Story, when Mary tells that Freddie came home and sort of said, I'm gay, I found out I'm gay, or I'm gay. I put in underneath music, Love of My Life, of course, in a very special version, only done for that documentary. And when I did that, and I worked on this for 3 days, just for the music levels, when, what, and up and down, I was so focused, but then I watched it sort of as a viewer, like you guys watch it, and it was like tears coming down. So anyway, I can see, well, maybe we have to do the videos next week. The trivia I promised, and we have to do this. So the trivia was a question, what is the name of Gianna Nannini's child? And of course, the name is Penelope Jane Charlotte, the full name. But very, very many people were correct, which is interesting. And also, if people just wrote Penelope, I just let it go, because this is 3 names, is kind of difficult. And as you know, we're drawing 3 winners, which is the new concept. And what are you going to win this time? Well, these 3 winners. Yeah, first of all, I wanted to do. I forgot. Trivia, backstage, trivia. This is the trivia drawing that every time I do a trivia, something more is added. So it says Rudi Backstage says trivia. There's fishes. There is signature and so on. Now we have some palm trees, and if you look exactly, there is here 2 eyes, and this is a big nose of somebody. I don't know if you know anybody with a big nose, but it could be me. Every time I add something, and at the end, this is going to be a prize for trivia at Memorabilia. But this time, I think it's something special, because sort of in the process of leaving Miami, it's going to take some time, but I'm starting with the big goodbye. I love postcards. So this is a postcard from London, for example, signed by Roger and Brian, remembering the world premiere of Bohemian Rhapsody with my friends Brian and Roger. Very emotional for me. London, October 23rd. Or these are things with my boys from diving experiences we always write, or things like that. Or, to me, you are perfect. I just love that. And it started with, this is, or I do things like that, where I'm just simply writing and posting, drawing something, or I use posters of film festivals and make them into a postcard like that. So the 3 winners are getting a postcard by Rudi Backstage with something nice written around it, on it, etc. Of course, I will need the address. So that's what's in this here, because it's going to be very likely Miami postcards or some funny postcards, and we'll see. And I think that's quite nice. That's something different. You know, the memorabilia, and we still will come back to that. So I made a little statistics, or actually my angel made the statistics, who works for me, that with Gianna Nannini, of course, Italy was winning. 26% of the correct answers were by friends from Italy. USA did very good again with 20% correct answers. We have France, again, always a strong number 3 with 15%. We have Canada on number 4 with 7%. We have Austria, yes, my home country, meine Damen und Herren, aus Österreich, vielen Dank, 6%. And Germany, of course, but a little bit behind Austria, with 5%. So that's the main countries, also probably who are the main viewers of this. Italy, USA, France, Canada, Austria, Germany. But then 4% or less shows a great variety of countries. If there is somebody watching this now who is not part of this, one of these countries, write to me, make me aware of it. But 4% or less is Mexico, the Netherlands, probably because of my Boland thing, you know, some Netherlands that came across, South Africa, Portugal, Lithuania, Australia, of course, Claire, hi. Then Switzerland, Japan. I mean, you have to understand, when they watch it live in Japan and Australia, it's in the middle of the night. I don't know. Some of them are even so crazy and watch it live because I see it on the YouTube. Japan, Argentina, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, Kenya, Czech Republic, Poland, Russia, Spain, Sweden, and Greece. These are all 4% or less, which I think is a quite nice mixture. It shows that Rudi Backstage is international, and my thing here always goes up, but I wanted to be the crazy Rudi today a little bit. So let's just see how we are doing with time. Okay. 40 minutes. So, one of these postcards by me, and we will have 3 winners. Trivia, backstage, da, 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 backstage, da, 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 da. And the first winner is... Silvietta from Italy. Okay. An Italian winner. Thank God, yeah, because I mean, Gianna Nannini question and no Italian winner. So, but you see the 3 dots. I wrote this all myself, by the way, because my printer was fucked up today. So usually I get the list from my angel and then I print it, and then just somebody helps me cutting. But this time I had to write all of them, and it was quite a lot, believe me. So, but it gives me a reason to say something. Please, when you are contributing to the trivia, when you're playing with us, where you always win something, please write your name and your country. I mean, unless maybe Sylvia doesn't want her surname, fine, I respect that, but at least your country, because there are so many that are writing, and where it's very difficult then to write back and which country you're from and so on, so that we have a sort of accurate statistics. So that's number 1. Winner number 2. Backstage is Cheryl Trulio from USA. This name is familiar. She might even be one of the winners. I do not automatically disqualify previous winners, because I think if somebody is so nice and plays all the time. Cheryl Trulio from USA. So if you are either Silvetta from Italy, or if you are Cheryl, write to the trivia, backstage.trivia@gmail.com, your postal address, because otherwise I can't send you a postcard. And now the third. The third winner is, we have Leah Wilson, USA. Okay. Leah Wilson, USA. Well, thank God there is at least one Italian winner. I mean, I could have, you know what my Italian fans would have told us. So all three of you, I will post your names there, but all three of you win a special postcard by Rudi Backstage with a lot of, you know, love and respect and what have you and other things. And probably from Miami postcard. And that will be the prize. So what is going to be the trivia question for now, the next trivia question? Well, I had something in mind, but since we are now running pretty late, it's 42 minutes already, I'm not gonna talk about all my Queen videos today. I'm telling you, it's 32 Queen-related videos, of which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, of which 8 are solo videos, yeah, and the rest are Queen videos. On top of that, there's two interesting things that you cannot call video, therefore I'm not counting them. But one thing is called Freddie's Last Words, which I think until this day is unreleased. I did that interviews of Freddie, mostly ones that I did, but also I think a little bit of David Wigg and of other interviews, making it into his sort of what he wants to be remembered for. Very touchy, 3 or 4 minutes. There's one version with piano music underneath and one version just the words. And another pretty rare thing is they were getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Freddie, all 4 of them accepted it in London. I think it was 20 years of Queen, if I'm not mistaken. And it was for ITV, for the private channel in England. And I had to create something like 5 minutes or something like that, video, but it's not a video clip, of like tell the Queen story in 5 minutes, which I did, or parts of that. And that's also pretty interesting and rare. So I'm keeping those 2 out, but still 32. So the trivia question is, name at least 10, I repeat, 10 videos with the correct title, Queen or Queen related, means Queen or solo Queen, that I directed. Name at least 10. Now, if you mention more than 10, it gets you into a bonus round. So 10 is the minimum to win. And I will think of something that those of you who might even, maybe there's even one who knows all the 32, which is very, very difficult because it includes 2 very, very rare videos where I'm not even sure that all the Queen fans, most of the Queens probably don't know. And there's also one solo video which is very, very difficult to pick, because they're not always all of it is in the internet, and that's the funny thing about it. That's also why I am, for example, writing postcards, because I think a postcard is much more than writing an email. For a postcard, and by the way, they will have very special stamps. I have stamps of Elvis Presley, John Lennon, what have you. They will have great stamps. It's a little piece of art that you're getting here. The 3 Gianna Nannini winners, and maybe we keep that. Write me if we should keep that. I'm talking about the Queen videos next week or a week later. Of course, you know some of it, and I'm not making it now too easy to read it to them, because you know. But I mean, look, here is the list. Here is the list, and it's really quite a lot. And some of it I already told you stories, some of it I don't. So next time or the week after, maybe we do something not Queen related next week. I don't know yet. So I want to close the show by saying that I'm very happy with the reactions that you gave me to my Freddie tribute. I tried something different. I tried to bring you, or for those of you who were not to Montreux, but quite a few of you traveled to Montreux. I would have been there. By the way, I will be in Montreux 2021. For those of you who don't know, darlings, and have you seen the wonderful video of Montreux Celebration and Mercury Phoenix Trust? It's on the Montreux Celebration Facebook page, if I'm not mistaken. I will ask them if they allow me to put it on Doro TV, but in the moment it's just there. I'm also doing a contribution for that, as Peter Freestone and others. And it's a very nice video, also with a lot of Queen tribute bands, which I find quite interesting, some of them at least. I will be there 2021, for sure. So I said yes, and if Rudi says something, Rudi always keeps his word. That's what I teach my boys also, you know. What a Dorlitzer promises, he has to fulfill. And if you don't know you can fulfill it, then don't promise it. And Dorlitzer never lies. That's also something. So September 4th is the big Queen party in Montreux. And September 2nd to 5th is the Montreux celebration. And I plan to be there the whole time. So some of you were sending me videos, thank you very much, from Montreux, and say, oh, you know, you wanted to be here. It was impossible for me to come, but I said, and you know, it has been postponed, if not to say canceled. And but it will be a great show and a great stuff because also around my book, which, by the way, if you haven't done it, do me the favor and pre-order. It's only $10 or $15 for the VIP package, because you will have not only the book autographed and with a dedication. As you know, very soon there will be very special live readings only for those who have pre-ordered the book. So if you haven't done it, or if you want to do a gift to a friend, because we will limit the viewers of those live readings, which is of course readings of my book, to those who pre-ordered. So do this, please. You're encouraging me. The book is finished writing. We're in the middle of choosing all the visuals. There will be great visuals with it. Unreleased photos, artists, like, you know, some of them you know, some of them you don't. And what I'm also planning, this is why I say maybe the Queen videos are the show after, is I will do one complete Rudi Backstage as a cooking show in my kitchen over there, in the kitchen of the office. And we're gonna cook the Rudi Backstage salad, which is my specialty. So, darlings, I say thank you very much for listening. It's always great to have you as my guests here in my office. That will go on. Every Sunday there will be Rudi Backstage. And please don't forget, the real nice experience is on YouTube. That's the usual time, because I will chat live, and the overwhelming people of you said to my question, should I continue it? I continued. So this Sunday again. And on the other hand, on Insta, who wants to mention on Insta, it's as IGTV, like a regular post that you can see, and on Facebook, on my Rudi Dorlitzer official. I say thank you very much. I love you all. It means the world that you're all so loyal fans all around the world. I say love and respect. Stay safe and stay human. And I love you.
You wanna know what goes on backstage? Oh, come on. Let me take you by the hand. Ow!
Rudi, are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen,
The way I see it, Barry, this should be a very dynamite show.
You know, I have no idea what the name of this program is, but you're watching it.
Backstage.
All you ever want,
Backstage.
all you ever need.
Backstage.
Your dreams will be fulfilled once you are there. You'll never wanna leave. You wanna sell your ass for that backstage pass. Backstage is just for the invited. Backstage.